When you think of Russia, what's the first thing that pops into your head? There's a really good chance it's this smiling wooden doll. The Matryoshka, or the nesting doll, is recognized all over the world. It's a staple in every souvenir shop and a toy so many of us have loved. But its story, well, it's a lot more complex and surprising than you might think. Because here's the twist that really kicks our whole story off. What if I told you that the idea for this quintessential Russian doll wasn't actually born in the Russian countryside? What if it came from an island nation hundreds and hundreds of miles to the east? That's right. The direct ancestor of the Matryoshka is a Japanese doll. Believe it or not, back in the late 19th century, the wife of a famous Russian arts patron, a man named Sava Mamontov, brought back this really peculiar souvenir from a trip to Japan. It was a nesting doll of Fukurama, a bald, good-natured wise man who was one of the 7 gods of fortune. And right here, you can see that exact moment of inspiration playing out. On the left, you've got the original Japanese concept, this wise old sage with other little figures tucked right inside. The core idea, one doll opening up to reveal another, it just completely captivated the artists at the Mamontov family's workshop. They looked at this clever design and basically just swapped the Japanese sage for a figure that felt deeply, authentically Russian, a round-faced peasant girl in her traditional dress. And just like that, our story moves from inspiration to creation. Now, this wasn't some ancient folk art that evolved over centuries in a remote village. Nope. The Matryoshka was the product of a specific time, a specific place, and a very deliberate, very cool artistic collaboration. It really took the perfect team of 3 to bring this icon to life. First, you had the Mamontov family. They provided the vision and, the resources in their children's education workshop. Then you needed the hands of a master craftsman, Vasily Zvezdochkin, who figured out the puzzle of turning the wood so every piece would nest just perfectly. And finally, you had the artistic soul of Sergei Malyatin, an artist who was all about the Russian style. And he was the one who painted that very first doll. And let me tell you, this idea took off with incredible speed. I mean, it's created in the late 1890s, and just a few years later, bam, it hits the international scene. In 1900, it was shown off at the Paris World's Fair, where it actually won a bronze medal. And that was the spark. Suddenly, this little wind doll from a Moscow workshop was a global sensation. Production centers, like the really famous one in Sergei Posad, started popping up everywhere just to meet the crazy demand. But the Matryoshka really quickly became more than just a clever toy. It tapped into something much, much deeper in the Russian cultural psyche, and it evolved into this incredibly powerful symbol. The name itself is actually a huge clue. Matryoshka is a sweet, sort of affectionate version of Matrona, which was a super common Russian name back then. And that name comes directly from the Latin word mater, which means mother. So right from the very beginning, the doll was literally named to make you think of a strong, healthy matriarch, the mother of a big, prosperous family. And this is the philosophical heart of the doll. The physical act of opening one doll to find another one inside became this powerful metaphor. It represents motherhood and fertility, with the biggest doll protecting her entire lineage inside of her. It symbolizes the continuity of generations and the endless cycle of life, from mother to child to the next generation, all nested together as one single family. Okay, so we know its history and we know its symbolism, but how are these incredible things actually made? Well, the process is a testament to true craftsmanship, and what's amazing is that it has barely changed in over a century. It all starts with getting the perfect piece of wood, usually linden or birch, that's been air-dried for over a year. Then a master turner gets to work. And here's the part that always blows my mind. They start with the smallest solid doll first, and then carve their way up, making each new doll fit perfectly over the last one. Once the white dolls are carved and sanded smooth, they get coated in a special starch-based glue to create a perfect little canvas. Only then do the artists take over, hand-painting each unique figure before a final coat of lacquer seals their beautiful work. It's just pure handmade artistry. So as the doll's popularity just exploded, something really fascinating started to happen. Different regions began developing their own very distinct styles. The core concept was the same, but the artistic expression became incredibly diverse. Let's just look at 3 of the most famous styles. First, you've got the Zagorsk from right near the original workshop. It's sturdy, rounded, and kind of squat. This is that classic image of a peasant girl in her sarafan. Then you have the Semenov style. See how it's slimmer, a little more elongated? Its trademark is that bright, bold bouquet of flowers, often set against unpainted wood. And finally, the Polkov Maidan style is just unmistakable. It's got that elongated shape, a smaller head, and that use of vibrant crimson and violet, almost always featuring that really prominent red rose. 3 dolls, 3 completely different personalities. So the next time you see a Matryoshka, you won't just see a souvenir. You'll see a story of Japanese inspiration and Russian adaptation, a powerful symbol of motherhood and the unending cycle of life, and a tiny canvas for generations of incredible artistry with an entire family just waiting to be discovered, one layer at a time.